Meeting to order. Roll call. All commission members are present except for Diane Wiedemeyer and Allison, and by previous arrangement. Do we have a determination of legal notice?
Legal notice has been determined.
Thank you. Do we have a director's report?
Jesse Davis, Senior Planner. At this time, there is no director's report.
Thank you. The Planning Commission welcomes participation in commission meetings. This item is limited to matters under the jurisdiction of the commission that are not on the posted agenda and items which have not already been considered by the commission. No action will be taken. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to address the Planning Commission? Seeing none, we'll go to the consent calendar, which there's none, and then we will go to the regular calendar. That is case number U2015-0018 for Jackson Group, did I pronounce that right? Family and Gary Quinton. So can we have the staff report, please?
Thank you, Chair and Commissioners. Vandy Vanderwater. Before you, I have a coastal development use permit, and this is to construct a multi-use recreational trail. And this would be located right next to the Kibisilla rock quarry. And it is located about 3 miles south of Westport, as you can see on this location map. And I'm just gonna scroll down to a aerial. There we go. So the parcel is located in the coastal zone, is accessed off of Highway 1, which runs along this right here. The proposed trail would begin at the end of a road terminus on the western parcel boundary of this parcel, which you can see right there. This trailhead would start at 190 feet above sea level and climb up along the ridge. So let me scroll again to this map, which you have a more detailed copy in front of you. So here's the parking lot that the trail would initiate, and it goes up along the slope side and ends at the ridge. With regards to land use in the general plan, the project was found to be consistent with general plan policies. In terms of zoning, the project is considered a commercial recreation, outdoor sports, and recreation use type, which is a permitted use type in the rangeland zoning district. Additionally, the project was found to be consistent with the 4 required findings for use permits. The parcel is located within a Williamson Act contract land. However, the project went to the Resource Lands Protection Committee, and they found that the project was consistent with the compatible uses of a Williamson Act contract. With regards to visual resources, the trail was determined that it would not have a visual impact on State Route 1. Staff did a site visit where we looked at from both the inside of the little valley looking up the slope where the trail would be going up, as well as from State Route 1. And with the exception of hikers at the top of the ridge, there wouldn't be any view shed of the actual trail itself. With regards to habitats and natural resources, there is a creek along this access road, which establishes some riparian habitat in Esha. However, with our contact with California Department of Fish and Wildlife, they permitted a 50-foot buffer from the Esha to be permitted with the project. With regards to the archaeological and cultural resources, there were no archaeological sources found, but just north of the trailhead was the Goodwin Farmstead. The Archaeological Commission determined that as long as the trail began outside of the site boundary, then the commission would not have an issue with the trail. As a condition to the project, an archaeologist will be present for the beginning of the trail to ensure that they stay outside of the farmstead boundary. The project does not entail the use of groundwater, so that was not a concern. And with regards to grading and erosion, the SHN engineering group has created a plan for grading along the slope, which would involve breaks in the trail to allow for runoff to go into the slope, so there's not a lot of runoff going down the trail. And lastly, with transportation, DOT and Caltrans did not have comments for the project. And an initial study was completed for the project and a negative declaration is recommended. So with that, staff recommends a negative declaration and approval of the coastal development use permit.
Thank you,
Can
Vandy.
I just ask a question?
Sure.
Is the cleared area there the quarry to which the
This area?
removed material would be sent?
Correct.
Okay, just,
So this is kind of the quarry is right here. It's not a very, I think it's the smallest quarry in the county.
I'm
glad
that it doesn't have to get trucked too far.
as Eduardo, our Samara planner, calls it, it's a cute quarry.
Yes, Molly?
Yeah, usually, Vandy, we have an applicant statement, and I don't see one here. So I'm a little confused about the purpose of the trail. I wonder if it's related to the group use permit for the inn, or is this just to get the cover material for the quarry, or what is the purpose?
I did not have an applicant statement in my application, at least I do not believe I do. But I do believe the purpose would allow end users to bring our ATVs, horses, or just regular hiking up the trail. I will let the project agents provide more information regarding whether or not that will be the trail will be accessed by non-end users or not.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions of staff? Then we'd like to hear from the applicant. Please come forward and state your name.
Hi, my name is Blair Foster, Wind Coastal Planning. I will answer your question regarding the use of the trail. Absolutely, it will be used by guests of the inn at Newport Ranch and the family of the Jackson Group and other guests as they wish. Really appreciate staff and the report. I feel like it's very thorough consideration and appreciate the conditions. We have no issue with any of it. Appreciate your consideration of the project and would love to answer any questions if you have any.
Go ahead. Okay. Is it not open to the public at large then?
It is not, that's not in its initial concept.
Right.
It could be considered, but no, initially, no, it is for private guests and friends and family use, and certainly guests of the inn at Newport Ranch.
Right. So the parking lot is at the trailhead, which is not on Highway 1. What is the access to the parking lot?
The quarry itself has parking facilities, and then it kind of connects to a large trail configuration that goes from the inn at Newport Ranch all the way up to Kibasilla. So in theory, you wouldn't have to necessarily even park. You could just, start at the ranch.
And if I may, through the chair, I just brought up our larger satellite. So here's the inn at Newport, or is that what it's called?
Yes.
Sorry. So this would be the access trail, or the road that accesses up to the trailhead. So it would just be a small portion of State Highway 1 that people would have to use.
But there is no parking at Highway 1 for the trail, is that correct?
No, you would drive onto the parcel, go past the quarry, and then up here to the small parking area. If you were to drive there and not go directly from the ranch.
Right.
Is that where the road is now currently, where there's,
Yes.
okay, thank you. Comes off of Highway 1 there.
Yes.
I was just curious about how ATVs and horses are going to get along if they're both on there at the same time.
You know, all the trails that the Jackson groups use they have been, over the past decade, been used by both horses and ATVs, and there's been no issue. So historically, it's worked. That's all I can say.
One of the issues I have is during the winter period, is this ATV trail, I mean, is this trail going to be rocked?
I don't think so. There isn't, let me look at the SHN. The good news is, if there is, we know where to get the rock.
You do. You do have a good rock source. I just have a concern, you're not going to want ATVs on that trail if it's not rocked during the winter period.
Yeah, they've had really quite a bit of luck maintaining trails, you know, throughout, you know, the 2,000 acres, you know, which have quite some steep incline. And they have an incredible history of maintaining and in great condition. I don't think that they use much rock, but they definitely pay a lot of attention.
Well, the rock would be great, but the real issue is there's going to need to be some type of restriction during the winter period for ATVs on these trails, I would think.
If I may, through the chair. Condition number 14 of the use permit does require that a trail maintenance plan will be submitted to the county to address such issues as erosion and reaction to different, yeah.
Okay, no, that's fine. I probably missed that, but that's, if you have something like that would be great.
Sure, we will absolutely submit that.
And do you rent ATVs at the inn, or do people bring their own?
No, they have, you know, a stable of them.
A stable of ATVs.
A
Okay,
stable
that's a
of
term I
ATVs.
haven't used before. But anyway, okay.
It's new
Yeah.
as of this moment.
Any other questions of the applicant?
I guess a fleet.
Seeing none, then we'll go ahead and open the public hearing. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to address this item?
I don't see a stampede.
We are on horses, aren't we?
I guess we'll close the public hearing then. Any discussion with the commission members?
Well, it seems to not create a problem, as long as the trail is maintained properly and we don't lose part of the side of the hill, but, so I don't think I have any trouble with it.
The design looks like it's a full bench trail, so that's a real plus. We're not going to have a lot of fill, and as long as it's outsloped and drained with some type of water bars or rolling dips, it should be fine.
All those that you just mentioned are included in the trail development plan.
Okay.
Okay, nothing else, and I think we're looking for a motion.
Okay, by resolution, the Planning Commission adopts a negative declaration and grants coastal development use permit U 2015-0018 for the project, as proposed by the applicant, and based on the facts and findings and subject to the conditions of approval.
I'll second it.
Okay, thank you. I don't think we need, go ahead.
Commissioner Jacobson,
Yes.
Commissioner Hollenkamp,
Yes.
Commissioner Warner,
Yes.
Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Chair Ogle.
Yes. Okay,
Thank you, Chair and Commissioners.
thank you, Vandy. Any matters from staff?
Yes, there are 3 items that I'd like to present to you today. One is just a notification that next week we'll be holding our housing element workshops. These are a statutory requirement of the housing element process. We will be having 2 meetings. One will be in Fort Bragg and the other is in Willits. If you'd like additional information, I'd be happy to provide that. Staff has prepared flyers as well as released a press release yesterday to inform stakeholders and residents that there's an opportunity for participation. Anyone who's not able to attend those meetings, I would welcome their comments through our general PBS email, and we're happy to receive those as they are provided. Additionally, I wanted to bring to your attention two wireless communication facilities items. One is that we are restarting our conversations with the Coastal Commission. Tomorrow, I'll be having a conference call with Coastal Commission staff to discuss the wireless communication facilities ordinance amendment that was originally started in 2015. This is to review and expedite certain types of cell towers and wireless communication facilities in the coastal zone, and was previously reviewed by the Commission, but it's been with the Coastal Commission for the last 2 years. So we're looking to restart that conversation and bring that back to the county as soon as possible. Additionally, you should be aware that staff is receiving a marked increase in terms of new cell tower applications as well as cell tower modifications, both in and outside of the coastal zone. The majority of these towers are being presented by AT&T. However, there are a mixture of applications that are replacing antennas or facilitating new tower starts. Just to be aware, those new tower starts will be coming to the Commission as soon as those applications are deemed complete and are ready for your review. But I wanted to bring your attention that we are seeing a marked increase in the number of applications related to wireless communication facilities. And that being said, those are matters from staff. I'm happy to address any questions you may have.
There is no housing element meeting in the Ukiah or Redwood Valley area?
There is not. We looked extensively for facilities that could host our meeting in particular. We clearly wanted to hold one on the coast. Alternatively, we were looking in Ukiah, but Willits was able to offer us a facility that was cost-free and that has been previously utilized for county events. And we felt that holding our workshop on the inland side, the city of Willits, would be appropriate. We are going to be providing multiple staff as well, and that was another aspect. Myself, as well as the Director of Planning and Building, as well as other staff members, will be cooperating with the PlaceWorks consulting team that we've identified for our housing element update. So we'll have a multitude of staff available at both of these meetings. But like I said, I ultimately would encourage individuals who are unable to attend to provide comments to our general inbox, as I'm happy to incorporate those. And I've already been working with healthy action teams for both inland Mendocino and coastal Mendocino to begin addressing some of their concerns and suggestions.
Thank you.
Of course.
Yeah, regarding the cell towers, I know we don't want to get to a point where we just have every company has their own cell tower. Or is there a way? I know of certain cell towers will allow other companies to mount their
Co-location.
Is that something that we're looking into?
Most definitely, and it's something that we also encourage. Our wireless communication facility ordinance in the coastal zone actually encourages co-location as a component of new towers, and right now, a lot of what we are seeing in terms of modification to existing towers are new companies are requesting to co-locate on those facilities. So co-location is something that we're seeing extensively.
Is that something that you're including in the number of applications? I mean,
Yes, most definitely.
Okay.
When I mention modifications or administrative permits, those are typically either antenna replacements or in some cases co-located facilities.
Co-locations. So what percentage would you say is are co-locations versus new towers?
Presently, we have approximately 6 new tower requests, and each of those towers does include allocations for co-location. As of 2019, we have received 6 new tower requests and approximately a dozen administrative permits for either cell tower antenna replacement or for co-location requests.
Okay.
So,
Jesse, one of the issues with co-location is have this appropriate separation between the different panels, but we also discourage height. It just seems to me like we should encourage a little bit taller antennas so we can encourage more co-location.
ultimately,
Am I right?
Most definitely, but ultimately those are decisions of the cell tower companies themselves, and each has their own corporate strategic plan that sort of reviews locations and sort of compatibility with their network and other entities. But ultimately, we do encourage co-location as part of our communication ordinances.
All right.
And do
So-
we have? Oh,
Yeah, go ahead. No,
Finish.
it wasn't important.
I was just gonna, in all of this, are we getting any map of where all these towers are? I
Yeah.
keep having the feeling that this is a real estate game and not a phone fighting game. I am almost positive of it.
Yeah, I have to
And-
disagree. You know, we're so undercovered
Well,
with
that
cell
may be,
towers.
but-
You know, the rural areas, and it's really difficult in the mountainous area to have, to reach a large area.
Well,
So I don't think that's a
and that's
problem.
what I keep wondering, is are we making sure that these are located so as to increase coverage for citizens rather than revenue for the tower owner. This is what worries me, is that you can put a tower up and get a whole bunch of people to pay to co-locate on it and not get one more household covered. You know, this is what concerns me quite a bit. And that's why I want to map it out. I agree we are short of coverage, no question. But are all these towers, I mean, the last one we looked at, they really did show how they were increasing towers, but, or I mean, increasing the coverage area, but we don't always get those kind of maps. And I wonder if we have any kind of comprehensive plan of getting everybody in the county covered, because they are gonna bail on these copper lines, they are going to. And they aren't gonna do it in San Jose first, they're gonna do it in Xenia first. And so I think these are fair questions, but I just wonder if we're getting any handle on what exactly we've got and what coverage it provides. I mean, do you have that? I understand they don't want that in the front page of the paper.
If I may, through the chair,
But-
ultimately, I'd be happy to respond to that question. And one of the items that staff is presently working on, and this is actually a component for my conversation tomorrow with the Coastal Commission, is the location of all towers, not only in the coastal zone, but throughout the county. One of the items that the Office of Emergency Services has identified for us is to begin to better geolocate and understand all of the component characteristics of our towers themselves. Which towers have generators? How much fuel storage do they have? These are all conversations that, as you know, cell towers and their histories can be complicated. So staff presently is working out and improving the qualification tables for cell towers and wireless communication facilities across the county to better map not only where those towers are located, but who's co-located on what tower, as well as what infrastructure is provided to those towers, so that in the event of a electricity shutdown, the Office of Emergency Services can be informed as to the duration and capabilities of those towers that are still in service and existing. So I'd be happy to take direction and present that map to you at a later date once it is prepared and as we build it out.
I would love to see that.
And this shows the coverage areas too, Jesse?
This would not show the coverage areas ultimately in that respect. This would simply show the tower locations and the associated infrastructure and associated companies that are located on those towers. The actual ability for us to map the cell tower coverage, that's typically proprietary, but we do review and receive that information as part of the application component. That being said, it is just a difficult process to begin to compile the geography, the equipment used, as well as the range of these various antennas. But I would be happy to provide you the map that we are currently working on right now. That's an update to our wireless communication facilities, so you can have a sense as to where those towers are located, where new towers are proposed, and who is operating or co-locating at those various towers across our county.
Madam Chair, if I may, Christian Kurtz, Assistant County Counsel. Right now, we're just in the staff report item. This is starting to get into a fair level of detail. I would suggest that if the commission is interested in this, it come back as an agendized item in the future.
Thank you.
Well, I would very much like to receive a presentation about the mapping and what we know about our cell tower things. And I would also very much welcome having an agendized discussion of what we get from them in terms of coverage area. This is my biggest concern, is that people living in the farthest outlying areas are going to be without phone service in a disaster or whatever. And so anyway, I would like to know that. And if we're not collecting enough information, maybe that would be a thing to discuss as well.
So Jesse, I guess there's a direction. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Are there any other matters from commission? Maybe we should determine when our next meeting is and whether or not we will be having quorums.
That's the 15th, is it not?
Okay.
That's when we continued that other item to.
If I may, I do believe that our next meeting is scheduled for August 15th, in which we would be reviewing the ordinance amendment for the ad hoc committee on cannabis cultivation, as well as the minor subdivision for Brown as well.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, the minor subdivision for Brown. I believe that was a continued item from a previous hearing. So those would be the two items that are on the 15th.
I'll be here.
And Presently, the September 5th agenda is growing increasingly long. So ultimately, you should be aware that there are a number of items on the agenda for September 5th, and that we should plan accordingly.
Okay, thank you. We have no minutes, so
I
do we,
move adjournment.
so we have a motion to adjourn. Thank you. Madeline and then Randy.
Yeah,
All those in
aye.
favor?
Aye.